Hello and welcome to Messages from Energy here on the Astroflower for we're 26th today, 26th of November 2025. What a week of energy. Very emotional, but not it's a personal emotion, I think, this week has been. It's all about our personal engagement of life and our personal engagement of our own emotions. And energy hasn't really been pushing in any particular direction. Last week I was talking about energy, sort of like promoting peacefulness within oneself more than anything else, which is absolutely brilliant. And with that, sort of, if you imagine you've got a mill pond and that's the energy, and it's literally as flat as anything, it's like a mirror. And you start throwing stones in there, or sticks, or even if you go swimming in there, obviously you are going to create ripples within that waves, within that mill pond. And this is exactly what this week has been about. It's been about finding your peace and going through the mill pond without creating too much of a ripple, but getting to where you're supposed to be going. So sometimes you might have felt this week that a little bit lethargic, that you haven't really got the energy, that sleep is eventful. Let's put it that. And it will depend on each of us and what we're living, of how that actually manifests through the sleep and so forth. But it's been a lot around that sort of energy there. And we've seen on the sun, if you go to Cymatic TV, there's some great videos coming out on Cymatic TV about how the energy physically works, how it goes from the sun through to the earth, through to us as humans. And it's all to do with pole shift as well and so forth. And it really gives you a heads up on the next stage of going down the river of life of energy, basically. And we saw that last week with a calibration between the sun, the earth, and obviously with us as well. And I think this is bringing to the fore, bringing to the front of ourselves a good realization as well at the same time, possibly, of what we enjoy and what is important to us, and what is important to us according to the outside world. So some things that's going on in the outside world that you may see in the news, if you watch the news, that is, that you're kind of thinking, well, that just does not correlate with me. That does not correspond with my output. And I think this is that gap is becoming larger and larger in the world. But we're also seeing that, we will be seeing that within the energy world. With everybody who is in the energy world, I think there's going to be a division of ideas, basically. And I think we're going to start seeing energy for what it really is and truly what it is in regards to the world around us. And it's it's great. This is exploration, should always be, you know, and we will discover a lot more about energy. And I think it's going to become more and more important if you go into the 2026 readings, which I've got on this channel starting this weekend. I think it's going to help us understand the process that we're going through, as much as the process that the Earth is going through and the solar system's going through. And this process is inevitable. It's nothing we can, simply don't simply go through the change, direct the change. And I think this is where people are becoming conscious about that direction and the implementation that we have, or the guiding factor, the influence we can have on that change, I think is going to become a lot clearer for a lot of people as time goes on. So that's the energy this week here. You may have felt like that. You may have understood and realized a lot of things within the world that is around you, and understand your own emotions as well, and what you like and what you don't like, and so forth. So, and gives you a clear idea of what needs to be done in order to get to where you want to be. And I felt like it's been like that this week. If you look at the sun at the moment, the energy that's going to be coming through, the elements, we talked about it on Cymatic TV, went into how all the energies, different types of energies are created through the sun, and the elements that will be coming through. So we're going to be looking, we've got that earth and water energy that's coming back up on the scene. And I think that's going to be with us for some time, actually, as you would have seen that on Cymatic TV and the reasons why. But this is all about that emotional and the application. The earth energy, I think, is going to take a little bit more sort of front and center stage. So it's how the emotions are driving the physical engagement in life. We had a lovely, peaceful week. I think it's going to start ratcheting up again at the moment in the way of energies. But we'll see that in the chakra sequencing. The other thing as well, which is amazing for all of the people who've been watching this for some time, okay, and when I visit the center of the earth, it's a little bit like remote viewing the center of the earth. And as I'm going down, I keep talking about this layer of non-orientated magnetic field and bubbles in those, within that get forced through to the surface occasionally. And we've had information come out this week that confirms that. And we go into that on Cymatic TV. So the Astroflower Cymatic TV at the moment is right on the money in how it sort of progresses. So we're going to be having a look at that. Just thought I'd say, blow my own trumpet in a way, but we're going to be reviewing the centre of the earth, seeing what's going on, get a message from the centre of the earth, have a look at the portal and stuff like that. But in the meantime, let's get on with our personal or our collective chakra sequencing. And, and then obviously you'll be able to see that a little bit more detail on your sign on Thursday and Friday. So Thursday is fire and earth. Friday is water and air. Okay, and don't forget about the lives. The lives were fantastic this weekend. I'd like to thank everybody who was there. It was absolutely brilliant. We ended up doing 3 hours. Can you believe it? I didn't see the time go. I did not see the time go, and I shouldn't be doing 3 hour things at a time. But once you start, you just can't stop. That's the thing with energy. It's just so rewarding in multitudes of different ways. Once you engage in it, why would you want to be in any other world? But anyway. Thanking everybody for being on the live for all of that. Let's get into the chakra sequencing for this week here. Let's just see if we can get some messages from the energy. So I'm sat on a ley line, an energy line that goes through here. This is a female line, and there is a crossing point about 20 meters down that way, which we'll be visiting afterwards. Okay, so now we can start seeing the energy and seeing the morphic fields, getting different colours. There's certainly a lot of purple-violet sort of energy that's going on. Very spiritual energy. There's also, obviously, that comes from the blue. If we take it down to the essence, that's coming from the blue, the emotional side. But we do have the redness as well, which comes from the fire. So that's the passion. And I still think the emotional passion of life is still very present within the energy, because we've seen over the past 2 weeks prior to the peace, we had a lot of fire energy, and that's still venting still through the earth energy system. So that's feeding the general energy that goes through it, and you combine those two together, and that's where you get the violet or ultraviolet or sort of purple sort of energies that are going through. But it seems to be, it's not before you get it really flowing, and here it's like a river that's very well gorged. So it's really full, and that river is, it would have risen a bit, but there's a lot of water going through, so you lose the rapid sort of section, and it's more of a block going through, and it's it's got a lot of weight behind it, a lot of potential, kinetic potential energy. And I think that could be building up within each one of us, that you can feel this, there is a lot of potential in the air. And at some point, you can cash in on that potential energy and you can convert it into action. And that's when we start manifesting things and creating a new future. But it's all about the possibilities, doing the possible things. So then we can then start actually developing the things that we may have perceived as being impossible. So the impossible then becomes the smaller possible things, and so forth and so forth. And that's how we manifest. And it's use a combination of our energies and our being and our physical being as well in order to do that. But I think it's building up that energy now to start manifesting things in a really beautiful way. Let's just see what's going on in the chakra sequencing. So connecting to the energy again, finding that 0 point, like that mill pond, so then you can see or feel any interference within the force, and this helps to see feel the chakra sequencing. So we've got the first connection to the energy, which is behind one's sternum. It's not in your root, it's not in your heart chakra. Your connection to all energy is behind the sternum, in a chakra that doesn't actually come out. It's all internal. And there we go. It's now getting the crown and the root, so we get the vertical energy always coming first. It gives us our raison d'etre, gives us our polarization of north and south, as it were. It gives us our compass, our direction in life. And I tell you what, both chakras are very full, voluptuous is the word I want to use, both within the crown chakra and the root chakra. And it's like it's like a peach that's really gorged with beautiful juice. There is so much, there's a lot of sugar involved. It's a ripe fruit. That's how it feels like. And although it feels full and complete and heavy in a way, it doesn't feel oppressive at all. It's just got the promise of potential. It's not going to promise you something. It's going to promise you that if you engage, you have the energy to follow it through. You have the energy to do what you've got to do. And once you're on that vertical energy, because that's your karmic path, the connection between the crown and the root is the staff of Tot. And then we get the Kundalini that keeps going up and down. And where it crosses over, that creates your personal chakras. It creates your personality through your heart, your sacrum, third eye, and your solar plexus. And when you play on those, that's what creates the emotions of life. This is all about the raison d'etre of life. And it is gorged with most beautiful, sweet juice of life. You reap what you sow. That's what comes out of it. Right, let's just see where it's moving on to from there. It is slow in its movement. So there's a lot of rhythms going on. And when you accumulate those rhythms together, it's like you have a lot of different frequencies. When the frequencies fall into harmony, that's when you get resonance. Okay, so, and it's because it's slow, there's a lot of rhythms, it's a lot of defragmentation that's going on. So let's just see where it moves on to now. So it's moving on to the throat chakra. And this is that, it is a bit of water going on, but there is a lot of air as well. It's the communication of emotions through air, through logic, basically. The third eye chakra is reduced. So the third eye and the throat chakra are the same chakra. If I extend the throat chakra, the third eye reduces, and vice versa. It goes like that. So this is how you do telepathy. You talk with your third eye, and you listen with your throat. And that's how it goes. It's an old sort of way of doing things in regards to energy and so forth. And this is like the talking stick. It's like you know when this moment to speak and be heard, rather than interjecting and everyone speaking over one another. It becomes a very coercive, or not coercive is not the word, coherent is the word I'm looking for, a coherent collective expression, which is what we would otherwise name as common sense. And this is where the throat chakra is in the same vibration as the crown and the root. It's very voluptuous and very full, and it is fullness. But the third eye chakra is really reduced, because it's like you should know and not believe. So that's the feeling I get out of it. So there's a lot of expression, but there's also a lot of listening in a way, because that's what the throat chakra does in a way. It is that conversion point. The ears are not in the third eye, or they're not in the throat. They're in between where your eyes are. You know, it's in that section there, between those two chakras there. So it's that conversion point of communication that is really important this week, or where you can express yourself, but be willing to also hear the answer. That is very important. You would be ignorant if you do not listen, because you will know a lot less, and therefore it will make your life a less clear. And if your life is a less clear, it makes it complicated for everybody else, not just for yourself. So I think this communication, and the communication of the logical expression of emotions, is very important at the moment, or certainly within this week here. Let's just see where it moves on to now. So it's coming out the this is the release chakra of the heart. So the heart is like a release chakra. It's like when the emotions get too much, the heart chakra, instead of being like a flower in front of you like that and a flower behind you, it's the flowers are placed upon one another like that. So the petals go like that. And when your emotions are released, your heart chakra does that. And it just allows this emotion, and it is a beautiful energy of joyous, almost childlike joyous engagement, without any reason, without any, not trying to gain any kudos points or anything like that. You're just enjoying it, and it's enjoying the expression and the creation of consciousness and life, and the exploration of life. That's what it seems to be coming out of the heart. It's really making me want to laugh anyway. Very, very joyous energy. Does connect to this energy line, this female energy line, because the heart does connect to that. You get like, it just like makes you feel, I'm swimming in that mill pond, and I'm enjoying every stroke. And I'm enjoying bathing in this energy now that is all going through. And I think that's what the heart does. It's like a release mechanism from everything that is within you, and it makes just everything kind of go. It turns cream into chantilly, like whipped cream. Sort of thing. But yes, it's absolutely, and once it's that communication and the expression is done, therefore you can allow you to physically enjoy and express emotionally and enjoy that emotion. A very good emotion, very good week for love, I think, as well, possibly. But you'll see that in the weekly readings. Let's just see where it does move on to now from the heart. Still making me want to laugh. It goes back. It brings us back to the central point. This is very interesting. So it's not the end of the chakra sequencing, but it's taking me back through that central point, through my connection to everything. And I think that heart releases and allows us to connect to everything. And this could be the changing understanding of energy, because now it's moved on to the sacrum and the solar plexus. And I think the sacrum, it's sort of floating between the two. And I think this combination between the sacrum, which is all about fundamental desires of I am hungry, and the heart desire is I wish to eat whatever it is, because that's what you want to taste, or that's maybe what your body needs, and so forth. But so we've got that sacrum, which seems to be, and it seems to be really tight. So female sacrums and male sacrums are not quite the same as a chakra. The way they present themselves are not quite the same. There's a different shape to them from between a male and a female, because we have different chemical makeup, slightly very simple differences, but those differences makes for a completely different persona. And so the sacrum is different for a male and a female, but it's very well defined here, because it's not male or female when you're looking at the collective, obviously, but it's really well defined in almost like the uterus. It looks like that, or certainly looks like the sacrum, and it's really sort of kind of, it's almost sort of saying that is the Nine of Wands. That's those healthy boundaries. And the solar plexus seems to be enforcing those healthy boundaries. And it feels like that, okay, the heart goes out, and it's like someone reacts to that in a bad way, and sort of like they don't want you to be happy or whatever, you know what I mean, because they're a bit insecure. You're not going to accept it, or the energy's not going to accept it. And I think there seems to be two halves to this chakra sequencing, because now it's gone back to the crown and the root, and it's bringing me back to, yes, this is what I should be doing. And I find again the voluptuousness of the energy, but I don't find that within the solar plexus or the sacrum. And it seems, and that's why it was hitting me right behind the sternum, because it was sort of saying there was a clear break between consciousness, the expression of logical emotion, and the expression as well through the emotion, through the heart and the acts and the feeling sensation, because this doesn't really feel this up here, for the feeling sensation, and then we come on into a thing of sort of saying, no, I'm no longer going to accept that in this new paradigm that I'm going to be living. This is what the energy is trying to encourage within us. And that repeating rhythm will keep knocking that nail on the head until we get it. And it can be as easy as difficult as you so choose. That's the thing. And, if you're looking at different signs, Capricorns like it a little bit difficult. They like to struggle. I'm a Capricorn, and we like to struggle. We like to sort of like, But anyway, each sign is completely different. So, and that's the beauty of the human species. The diversity is that is where we find the diversity. But we've got to be able to listen as well as speak. We've got to be able to feel as well as express our feelings. And there needs to be an exchange. It's like going to a meal and I only eat curry and someone else only eats pasta. And they've never tasted curry and I've never tasted pasta. I could sit there and kind of go, pasta, no, you don't want it. I just eat curry. And they're kind of going, I'm not having curry, I'm just eating pasta. And then once you kind of taste it, you kind of go, do you know what, pasta's not too bad. And the other one says, well, you know what, the curry's not too bad. And that's where we can evolve. And that's what I feel like the energy is encouraging us to do. To taste, but to stay true to what you like. And there you go. Okay? Absolutely beautiful chakra sequencing. Don't forget about the poll as well that I put out on the post about the topic or the subject for the live this week. And any questions that you've got according to that, please do put it in the comments on your weekly reading. So then I have the questions already. It makes life a lot easier. And we tend to get a lot more done when we're doing it like that. So, don't forget about the poll. Let's get on to the connection, and let's go and visit the center of the earth and get a message from that energy from the center of the earth. So let's reconnect to that line here. There we go. We got that central point. I can start seeing the ultraviolet or the purple energies. Now we get the blues and the reds coming through as well. We get the fullness of that energy. So let's just now allow ourselves, there we go, we're just stepping out the body, we're going back down the energy line. So we go back down the energy line. I just raise slightly above the line so I can see it like an electrical current that takes me back to that crossing point. There is our vortex. So I can just step in to allow myself to go down into the vortex. Now I'm stopping halfway down because I do want to have a look at that layer that is just under the crust of the earth. Well, under the mantle and the crust. You know, where you got the crust, and then you got the mantle, the lava, and everything like that. And then you do have voids. There is structures around, and you know, I explain that on Cymatic TV. But I just want to have a look at that layer there and see what's going on. Now, as we lay the earth out in front of us in a way. Okay, so it seems like around Thailand, Vietnam, the Filipino plate, south of Japan, north of Australia, there's a lot of venting going on. I think there's going to be a lot more venting going on. That can take form in the way of earthquakes, but also sort of volcanoes, but also sort of rain and stuff like that. There's a lot of heavy connection going on there. And occasionally it will give rise to difficult to magnetic orientation, really. And we get the similar sort of thing in the Americas as well, going up through the Americas through that 0 point between south and north energy. There's a line that goes up there as well, and we can sort of see that, and that ties into the South Atlantic anomaly. Now, the South Atlantic anomaly is very weak, but it's actually drawing energy in, so it makes a bit of a hole in that layer and allows the energy to flow straight through, and that's where the pole shift is going to be activating a lot of things. You can see that on Cymatic TV. Let me just see if there's a thing over the Europe side of things. Nothing really. I don't think there's a great deal pushing it through at the moment, apart from the Filipino plate, which is just east of Vietnam and Thailand and Philippines and all of that, going between Australia and Japan. So let's just keep now going down the vortex. So we've got the interior of the earth. It's that void between, there is structures, as I said, but it's mainly the void. And we get down to the central sphere. In fact, the void seems really clear and clean is the best way to do it. It's a real day and night scenario. It's a transition between the two. I think it's building up to the solstice moment that we'll obviously get in December. And there's a clarity that comes before that. So 3-4 weeks before that, we have that inversion already in the center of the earth, and then the energy then sort of like hits the surface of the earth on the solstice, and you get that different orientation in the first month between equinox and solstice, and then in the middle month you get a mixing of the two, which creates a lot of sort of complications and so forth. Here's that inner sphere, that inner plasma ball, and let's just step into that. Every time I walk in now, everybody stands up as if to sort of say, hello, welcome, as you were, as it were, sort of thing. Okay, I'm now getting a lot more administrators talking to me. Okay, they're talking about a vortex of energy that's coming through the southern Atlantic anomaly that comes through, envelops the center, and then goes out through the Filipino plate, as it were. well, more towards the Philippines and Australia and so forth, pulled over much more towards Philippines, rather than the Filipino plate. And it's sort of like creates that eternal loop of a jar that you pour into a jar, and there's no outcome of it, as it were. Absolutely. If it's a particular type of jar, I'll put it on the you'll be able to see it on Cymatic TV anyway. I'll go into that. So it's explaining to that everything seems to be online. And as I said in last week's energy updates, this energy that's changing at the moment, it's back to the program. So the program for planet Earth is pole shift. The program for the solar system or the sun is micronova or planet creation, which is two different outcomes. So it's a very sort of kind of going, sort of full steam ahead, engine four's good, it's a lot of verification that's going on and they seem to be reporting to me as if I'm, they may be just reporting so I can convey it to you. They are sort of saying full steam ahead. And pole shift is not something that takes... There may be a day when we may turn around and kind of go, yeah, we're definitely gone through the pole shift. But you are actually going through it for a long period of time, and it gets more and more intense. And I think that is what they're locking in that mechanics now. So it's going to start being a lot more methodical about how energy is going to be changing. Methodical and logical about it all. So, is there any complications? That's what I want to know. Anything that needs to be smoothed. When you're driving a car, obviously you take your foot off the accelerator when you go round the corner, round a bend. And this is where it's sort of they're explaining that the human species need to have consciousness to control that aspect. So then therefore, as it goes around the bend, like through pole shift, it's actually, we're directing it. We're not going gun-ho, so we lose it on the corner and the vehicle gets wrecked. And that's what they want to reiterate, is that we have a certain responsibility in making this process as smooth as possible. So there's, and it's going to be complicated, I'll tell you now, but as making it as smooth as possible, basically. That's what it seems to be. Thanking you very much. Message understood. Ground control and all of that. Thank you. Life should be fun, don't forget, people. They're loving it. They're really loving it. Okay, let's go to the portal here. We got the Akashic Library, which is sort of surrounding the portal. So we go through the Akashic Library to get towards it. Just want to check, make sure the Akashic Library is working okay. They're talking about the new science that's coming through, and I think basically a lot of things we think about quantum mechanics is wrong. I'm going to tell you straight. There's a lot of principles that are wrong, and Einstein saw this when he said God does not play dice. And we've got to understand that a lot of things are being pushed through the quantum idea, the quantic idea, that are erroneous, that are built upon illusions. They're good to sell, but it's not how it works. And I think they're trying to sort of say here that things are in place in order for that understanding to be activated. And when it does, that's when we can actually use the quantic. If you imagine you've got the slits going, the two slits, and you push the thing so the slits move. So you can choose which particles go through. And that's the power of quantic. So yes, you can create everything you want to. You can create anything from the material that we have on this planet. But without knowing the planet, we can't create anything. And this is where we're just sort of saying, we've understood we can create anything, then therefore kind of go, oh, I'll just create it. And that's not how it works. It's applying the consciousness. And the Akashic library is now set up so that information can be channeled through everybody. And we're going to have a massive understanding about how quantum mechanic and how quantic stuff is very erroneous. Anyway, it just seems to be there. Okay, so that's good, excellent. Thanking you very much, the librarians, giving me that information. We're now onto the portal. The portal is, if I just put my energy into the portal, it tightens everything. It tightens everything. And it almost, it's superhuman sort of thing. That's the only way to describe it. It just tightens your energy so much, kind of go, rah! That's it. I'm a superhuman sort of thing. It's just so intense. Absolutely beautiful. And it's flowing through. It doesn't stop off. It doesn't get contained within this planet because it would be way too dangerous to be that sort of intense. It at some point, it does resonate, obviously. And this is where we're taking the cream in order to make the butter, sort of thing. But the milk, the majority, the milk is just going from flow. We've got to allow it to flow through because it's better for the planet and better for the whole system. Okay, so let me just get a message from there. If you took a house apart and you took it down brick by brick, light bulb by light bulb, sink by sink, you could then rebuild a completely different house with exactly the same material. And that's the message here. The message here is taking our understanding to reevaluate the sequencing of our understanding, which will create a whole new reality. And it's asking us to have a go. It's time to recreate and reconfigure the reality of the world. That's the message that comes through from the portal. It's time to reconfigure everything with what we have. Okay? It seems there's no ifs and buts about this. It's so intense in a way of it's day and night sort of scenario. Yeah, it's quite serious. You know what I mean? And I'm a very fun guy. I'm not a mushroom, but I'm a fun guy. And but there's times to be fun and there's times to be serious. And it seems that this is very intensely sort of kind of going, no messing. Now is the time to reconfigure our reality. And that's that whole split that, people do talk about. Okay, that's really nice. It's working really, really nice. Getting much more on the clock thing. Talking about 30 in May, June, about that sort of period. But anyway, for those who want to know. So yes, let's just step out of the central sphere. Thanking everybody. Thanking you all so much. Okay, step out. We're now onto the outside of the sphere. This is where we can meet the general energy of the earth. So what we would deem as Mother Nature. She's kind of going, you ready? Right. She's rolling up her sleeves and kind of going, I'm ready. They've got the configuration in place. She's ready for the pole shift. She's going to invert her energy. And this is why we've got to reconfigure the reality. And she just kind of like, she's very friendly. And she's just she's pulling up her sleeves and looking at me as sort of saying, kind of going, you ready, Tom? You ready? Okay, we're going to reconfigure this. It's going to be great. She's really excited. And it's that's that heart energy. That's very much that heart energy. I'm ready. I think a lot of people are ready, Mother Nature. We're all ready. Let's do it. This is Team Mother Nature. Okay? We're on it. We're on it. She's almost doing like that to me, as if to sort of say, you're good one, good egg, sort of thing, not in a condescending way at all. Give us a hug. Go on then. All right, enough of that. Let's get on to the doing. That's what she's sort of saying. Beautiful energy. Thanking you very much, Mother Nature. Right, let's just get back to that vortex, shall we? So it's like a plasma ball that when you put your fingers on it, you get these columns of electricity. So it's a similar sort of thing. You're creating that connection to the upper thing. So you create that vortex part of it. And you connect the dots between the two. There's our vortex, stepping into the vortex, up to the crossing point, coming out of the crossing point, can see the electrical current of the energy line, back down the energy line, and then there we go, back into the body. It always takes a little bit of a time. So yes, time to create our new reality with what, reconfigure all the building blocks. It's like a Rubik's Cube. Everything's there. You just got to rearrange them all so it makes sense. And you can only do that within your own personal life. Don't try and do that to the entire world, because that's just what I guess humans would determine as a dictatorship. And it doesn't work like that. The Rubik's Cube is not just one square colour. It's multitudes of different colours, and it's got different sides and different facets. And we've got to respect that. So concentrate on your facet, on your side. Okay? There you go. Absolutely lovely energies at the moment, man. Really do enjoy it. Appreciate the moment, engage with the moment fully. I think you will love it. Don't forget about the weekly readings, Earth and Fire on Friday, Water and Air on... Earth and Fire on Thursday, Water and Air on Friday. Don't forget about the poll for the live if you want to talk about or ask questions about the subject, which is going to be announced on Thursday, where you can leave your questions in your star sign reading according to your star sign, and so then we can talk about it on Sunday. There's all that stuff on Somatic TV as well, the energy update and so forth. Be lovely to see you over there as well. I will see you soon. In the meantime, thanking you very much for all the support you give to this channel through subscribing, liking and sharing. Without you, we're nothing, as it were. It's really beautiful to see everybody getting involved. Been really beautiful this week. In the meantime, don't forget, life should be fun, so please do enjoy.